Hi, today we'll talk about Vijayanagara, one of the most powerful and resplendent dynasties of South India. Started by two brothers, Harihara and Bukka, it's one of those rare occasions when they actually jointly ruled. There's a lot of theory about who they were. Some say they were part of a pastoralist community of Yadavas, but there is some proof that they were part of the last stages of the previous Hoysala Empire, because there's mention, in addition to these two brothers, of three others who occupied positions of power in different parts of southern India. Of course, they seem to have taken over, and in 1336, Harihara assumed the throne and started what is known today as the Vijayanagara Empire. Needless to add that over the course of the 200 odd years that they ruled, they also went through their ups and downs, and actually it was four different dynasties that constitute the Vijayanagara kingdom. The first one, started by Harihara, known as the Sangama dynasty, was followed by a brief 20-year rule of another dynasty called the Saluvas, and then followed by the Tuluva dynasty. Tuluva dynasty was led by a general who came from the Mangalore part of Karnataka, modern Karnataka, and gave Vijayanagara its most powerful and most famous ruler, Krishnadevaraya. Initially, there were a lot of warlike campaigns in the process of expanding, and the empire actually is known to have gone all the way into modern-day Sri Lanka. On the eastern side, they have defeated the Gajapatis of Odisha and actually took on some of the sultanates to the north, which were the offshoot of the Bahmani kingdoms. By the time Krishnadevaraya came, he established a much more formal system of governorships, which went by the name of the Nayaka rulers, the Nayaka ships. So some of the leading Nayakas were the Nayak of Tanjore, the Nayak of Jinji, the Nayak of Madurai, the Nayaks of Chitradurga, the Nayaks of Ikkeri Bednur, and of course they also placed a ruler to essentially control the Palligars of Mysore. Even kingdoms as far south, like Travancore, represented then by the Venad rulers in modern day Quilon, owed vassalship to and paid tribute to the Vijayanagara kingdom. So in the process of establishing this Nayaka ships, till they were in power, there was a very strong bond amongst the Nayaks and into the central feudal structure provided by the Vijayanagara kingdom and the emperor, sitting out of Hampi, at times out of Penkonda, Chitradurga, Chittur, and then even Srirangapatnam. But as the empire started to weaken and the third dynasty was replaced by the fourth dynasty called the Aravida dynasty, we see the power of the Nayakas grow day by day, and more or less the Nayakas assume independent rulership of their specific territories. And some of the more powerful ones were the Nayaks of Tamil Nadu and the Nayaks of Ikkeri. A wing of that family actually went all the way to Coorg and established the Rajaship in Coorg. So you will see coin issuance coming out of not only Vijayanagara, of course, they were the overlords, but as the Nayaks grew more and more powerful, they started issuing coins. Vijayanagara coins were pretty much the standard in southern India and broadly came in four denominations. The highest was the gold pagoda, or the Varaha as it was called, because that was the official symbol of the Vijayanagara Empire, the boar. Then there was the phanams, which was common across all the kingdoms of the south, and then the silver taras, and finally the copper jittals. Today I'm going to show you a few samples of the coins, not only from Vijayanagara imperial issues, but also some of the coins that were issued by some of the vassal states and some of the Nayakas. The first coin that I'm going to show you is a gold varaha of Vijayanagara. It's an imperial issue issued by the third king of the dynasty, Harihara II. So a gold varaha or a pagoda was equivalent of 16 tara silver coins, and each tara was the equivalent of 3 copper jitals. So this particular coin is a beautiful example of a varaha, and it's pretty intact, and it's issued by the third ruler of the dynasty, which was Harihara II. A fractional of the varaha is the gold half varaha, and this is a particularly beautiful sample that I'm going to show you, and it has the image on one side of Narayana seated in Padmasana with consort Lakshmi on his left, and on the reverse it is written Veera Pratapa Harihara. In this coin, what is interesting is you see the image of Hanuman, and of course in Hampi they tend to be very closely associated with the imagery of Hanuman because of Kishkinda. On the other side there is the legend of identifying the king, and that is Veera Pratapa Harihara, and the third king of the dynasty from Vijayanagara. The next series of coins that I'm going to show you are a fascinating denomination which was prevalent all over southern India, in fact all the way up to Maharashtra, and that is the phanam. The phanam in this particular case was issued by, the first one is issued by Krishnadevaraya's predecessor, but he was effectively the first ruler of the Tuluva dynasty, and that is Veeraraya, and the phanam is issued from the Calicut mint. So that shows that they had already penetrated into what is modern day Kerala. The second coin is of the ruler of the Malabar, which is the Zamorin or the Samudri as he was called, and this again is a gold phanam. And the third is a bunch of 2 gold phanams, which are beautiful examples of phanams issued by the Nayaks, and this particular lot are issued by the Nayaks of Chitradurga. So you see these 2 coins, they are both phanams from the Nayaks of Chitradurga.